Welcome to Laguna Woods Stories, where we meet interesting people who live here in Laguna Woods. And we have a very interesting person to meet today. This is Mark Greenman. And many of you know Mark for his concerts in the park. We'll get to that a little later. But let's start at the very beginning. Mark, where did you make your appearance into this world?
Thanks, Tom. I was born and raised in Palatine, Illinois, a northwest suburb of Chicago.
Okay.
And then I went to law school at the University of Minnesota.
Minnesota?
Yes, and I had every intention of moving back to Chicago because I liked it there, but I loved Minnesota. So I stayed and spent 23 years there, and I had a career as an employment lawyer on the plaintiff's side.
Are you part of a big law firm, or?
I was in a two-person partnership for about half of my career. In the second half, I was a solo practitioner. So.
Wow.
And then I spent 6 years in San Diego before moving here on November 4th of 2019. It was the first day I could move in. So I was so anxious to move in, I moved in the very first day I could.
The first day you could move in because you turned 55, or?
I turned 55 on a Saturday, and they wouldn't let me move in until Monday when I closed. When I closed. Right.
Okay. So you were probably the youngest resident of the whole place at that point.
And I still
55
am.
in one day.
I still am, and the softball players I play with are very envious because I can still run.
Yeah. Oh, wow, yes. Right. What was the big attraction of coming to Laguna Woods?
Well, I credit my brother for that because I was 54 and a half, and he knew I was an athlete. He knew I played sports my whole life, and he knew that they had pickleball and softball and volleyball and all this kinds of stuff here. So he thought it'd be a great fit for me at the time being single. So he helped me look at a couple of places. We found a place by the creek, and I'm in for life.
Okay, very good. And you're no longer single?
No longer single. I got married to a wonderful, beautiful woman named Renee.
Yes.
And we got married on July 19th of last year.
Right.
At Clubhouse 1.
I remember when you started doing your concerts at the creek, that you forced Renee into helping you carry the stuff.
She had to do the hard work because I had a stack of music like this, and she had to take the old song down, put the old song back up. Very tedious job, but she did it, didn't complain one bit. And through all this, I'm the one who gets all the credit, and she's doing the hard work, not me. I'm just having fun.
That sounds like a pretty ideal person to find to marry.
It was great. So then my friend John Pearlstone bought me this music stand that had these little arms that went wherever you wanted to put them. So it allowed me to very easily change songs, so she was able to retire.
Oh, okay.
And now she just happily sits as a fan.
Now, getting into the music thing, how did you come up with the idea of concerts?
Well, I used to like to do open mics, is where you practice 3 or 4 songs for a whole week, and you go to a bar and you play, and you hope there's 10 people in the bar to hear you. And then when COVID hit, we had this beautiful walking path going through Aliso Creek Park, so I thought, why don't I get my amplifier and go play some songs for the people walking by? And then, on my second day, people started bringing lawn chairs. So I said, oh, this is cool. So I said, I'll make you a deal. If you keep coming here every day, I will play a concert every single day until I can play pickleball again. And I had no idea when that was going to be. Was it going to be a week? Was it going to be a year? Was it going to be 10 years? Yeah. Who knew? So it ended up being 60 days. So I was there with Renee, and we played 60 shows in 60 days.
And I remember you used to take a little tiny PA system.
5-watt amplifier. And now a 45-watt.
Right. I guess people didn't complain about the loudness of it because it wasn't very loud.
No, but there were people who lived on the creek or in the park who thought they owned the park, and they were complaining not because it was too loud, but because they could hear it at all. We were disturbing their peace and solitude.
Oh, dear. Yeah.
But security came many times, and I just kept playing.
Okay. So when you were able to go back and play pickleball, you cut out the daily concerts, but you still do concerts.
I cut it down to 3 times a week, and then twice a week. And now I'm just doing it periodically. But I do have a very special show coming up on Christmas Eve Day at 2 o'clock at Aliso Creek Park, where it all started.
Okay.
And I've got a 15-song Christian medley. I've got 5 Hanukkah songs, a bunch of Andy Williams. So I've got it covered.
Very good. So something to do on the day before Christmas.
That's right.
Christmas Eve Day. Yeah. So
and to tie this back to what we're talking about is, I am a former alcoholic.
Yeah.
I'm the only person I know who can say this, that I used to be an alcoholic, but I was cured by this drug called naltrexone.
Okay.
And after I got cured, this musical interest in me was just peaked. So I'm now playing 2.5 hours a day just practicing, and I love to perform.
Really?
So that's what really was the precursor for me even doing this at all, was getting sober. So, yes.
Yeah. Nobody wants to hear a drunk performer, I suppose.
No. Well, I'm good when I'm drunk, too, or I was.
Or a lot of people think they're good when they're drunk.
Yeah, that's right, probably.
Yeah. It interferes with a person's judgment, of course.
Right. So anyways, I tried to get sober the very first time in 2007. I went to the world-famous Hazelden in Minnesota, and
What is that?
It's like Alcoholics Anonymous University. That's all they do is they stress AA, AA, AA all the time, 24/7. Okay, so I lasted 2 months after I got out of that place. Then.
So is that a residence place, or you?
Yeah, it's a residential treatment program.
Okay. So you're there for how long?
30 days.
30 days.
And the reason it's 30 days is because that's all the insurance will pay for.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing scientific about it. So
back up just a little bit before that.
Sure.
How did you know that you needed help?
Okay, my story. Yeah, you got to hear this.
Sure.
All right. Well, I started drinking the summer after my senior year of high school.
Wow.
And I hooked up with a new crowd, and this crowd had been drinking already for 2 years. So I'm starting off drinking 4 beers every single day for an entire summer.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And 4 times now, it's 28 units of alcohol a week. So, and then I went to college and hit the ground running there. Drank heavily during college, drank heavily during law school. I think by law school I was probably an alcoholic by then, if I had to estimate.
When you say you're drinking heavily, you're drinking
beer.
Beer?
Beer and beer only.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And like how many beers would that be?
Well, probably in law school, maybe 6 to 8. And then when I got out of law school and started working, I stepped it up. I was probably drinking 12 beers a day.
Oh my gosh!
For the next 20 plus years.
Yeah. A little side effect there, I would guess.
No, I was. You've heard that. I mean, everyone's heard the term functioning alcoholic. I was a very, very, very highly functioning alcoholic. I wouldn't get hungover, and I excelled at the law. I was very, very good. And it didn't have an effect on me for 20 years. I could handle it. It was great. But then it caught up with me, and very bad things started happening to me.
Like what?
I got my first DUI.
Oh, yeah.
Then my wife ended our marriage because of the alcohol use.
Did you have children?
2 boys. At the time, they were 4 and 6.
Wow.
I was coming home one day drunk, and I climbed over a fence and ripped my hand open. I shattered my ankle while drunk. And those are the biggies. And kind of a humorous story, I got 3 DUIs on the Segway. So when I broke
on the Segway.
Segway. You ever see Paul Blart Mall Cop? It's a stand-up, self-balancing 2-wheeled device.
Right.
It's great. So I broke my ankle, needed one of those, and I got 3 DUIs on the Segway. And so
I didn't know that that the traffic laws.
Well, I'll get to that.
Okay.
So the judge dismissed the first one, saying it's not a motor vehicle, and the city appealed that ruling to the Minnesota Court of Appeals. During the pendency of the appeal, I got 2 more. The second one, the third one on the Segway would have been a felony. I had a previous one, which would have been my 4th DUI.
Yeah.
So I was facing a felony.
It's not good for a lawyer to have felonies.
No, not at all. And so my lawyer wanted $25,000 to do the appeal.
Oh, my.
And I was thinking to myself, I'm a lawyer. I could do this myself. So I wrote the brief. I argued it before the 3-judge panel, and I won.
Oh, wow.
And so they ruled that a Segway was not a motor vehicle, and therefore you could not drive it while impaired. And I was famous for a day. I was on CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, CNBC.
Well, that's pretty unique.
My pictures on the front page of the Minneapolis Star-Tribune the next day.
Wow.
So I was so now in Minnesota, because of me, you can drive a Segway drunk. But now in Laguna Woods, I'm known for playing music. So I'd much rather be known for playing music than driving a Segway while drunk.
Right.
It's a step up in the world.
You can only take that about so far.
That's right.
The Segway part.
And so then in 2013, the summertime, I developed this very bad alcohol-induced depression. I had a hard time going to the store. I found it difficulty to feed my dog. It was torture. And the only thing that would relieve the torture was alcohol. So from 3 o'clock until 10:30, I was fine. Then the next day, same thing over and over and over again. It sort of repeat itself. So I couldn't live like that anymore. So I checked into treatment, a place in Ventura, California. And
so you moved out to California before?
Well, I went to treatment to go to treatment in California.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then I was there for a month, got out, relapsed 6 months later, went back to the same place again in the fall, was sober another 6 months, relapsed again.
Oh, my.
And then over the next couple of years, I went to 3 more places and relapsed at every single one of these places.
That must have been just enormously discouraging.
It's horrible. And, you might have heard that if you try to get sober and you relapse, it comes back worse. Well, I'm living proof of that. Because my start time for drinking was always 4 o'clock. Now, after I relapsed, it was 8 o'clock.
Oh, my.
I'm drinking at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
But I had my pride. I would not drink until that clock hit 8. So I'm sitting there with my finger on the tab at 7:59 and 55 seconds, counting down the seconds.
Oh, no.
58, 59.
Oh, yeah.
Then I have a couple beers at home. Then go to a bar, have a couple beers there. And then go to another bar, a couple beers there. Then I'm probably over the limit, but I can still drive. Then I go home and drink the rest of the day.
Wow.
And that's how I live my life.
And
then
you were able to make a living. You were still doing
I wasn't even worried about that. And then after my last relapse, I was like, oh my God, not again. I can't do this again. So I went online and I did some research. I looked for alternatives to traditional treatment. So I found this actress. Her name is Claudia Christian. She was famous on a show called Babylon 5. I guess it was popular, but I never saw it. She was the star. And she was advocating for this drug called naltrexone. And she could get it. She went to Africa to get it because she couldn't find it here. It's since, in 1994, became FDA approved. Okay. And that means that the FDA views that the benefits outweigh any risks. So it became FDA approved and became available. So I'm at my last treatment program, and you have to go to the doctor a couple times during your visit. At my last visit, I said, I want to try naltrexone. He says, what you want is something called Vivitrol. Vivitrol is the 30-day injectable form of naltrexone.
Okay.
So he recommended that.
So naltrexone, is that a tablet or?
Naltrexone is a pill.
A pill, yeah.
It's very cheap. It's $30 a month.
Wow.
The Vivitrol is $1,400 a month, but my insurance covered it.
Wow.
And if the insurance would rather pay $1,400 a month than pay another $60,000 for treatment. And so I think it's good business. So I'm on Vivitrol, and I'm on it for 2.5 years. I moved to Laguna Woods. I'm here for a month and a half, and I go, I want to go off. And so there's no literature about how to go off. Nothing.
Oh, wow.
So my doctor tells me, you can go off, just have the oral naltrexone on hand in case you ever feel you need it. Okay, easy enough. So I got the pills, went off the Vivitrol, and since that day,
wow,
I've never needed an naltrexone.
Whoa.
Not once.
Wow.
New Year's Eve, now I can be around people drinking, I can go to parties. AA people can't do that.
Right.
They can't be around it, they can't talk about it. What naltrexone does, there's several theories. Nobody knows exactly how it works. But one theory is that it erases all positive memories of alcohol.
Oh.
So you don't have the, oh God, that was great, okay, I want to feel like that again. And then another thing it does, it rewires your brain and puts you back to your pre-drinking state. So it's like right now, it's as if I never drank alcohol in my life.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And another interesting thing it does is that if you drink on it, you don't get the buzzed, feel-good intoxication. You'll get physically drunk, you'll weave and you'll fall down if you have too much, but you won't get the buzz. So there's something called the Sinclair method, which is where, it sounds kind of funny, but you drink yourself sober. So the theory is, the practice is you take a naltrexone pill 1 hour before you go out drinking. Then you drink as you normally would, but because you're not getting buzzed, you find yourself drinking less.
Okay.
Over time, you find yourself drinking less and less and less until it's down to zero.
Because it's not doing anything.
Right. It's like the Pavlov's dog. You know, he heard the bell, and he got the steak, and he salivated. So he learned how to salivate. But then when the steak was taken away, he was still salivating, but became less and less and less and less and less until it was none.
Yeah.
It's the same theory, and it's called psychological extinction. The behavior is extinguished.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes, it's very interesting.
So that's so you believe it was a medication that made the difference. It wasn't just that.
No doubt. And what it does is it makes you not want it.
Yeah.
You know, before, all the other times I had gotten sober, I knew I couldn't have it, but I still always wanted it. Now, you could take my favorite beer, which probably at the time was maybe Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. You could take my favorite English pint glass and just pour that right in front of me. And I've been, shove it away.
Wow.
I hate tomato juice. It's just like tomato juice. I have no interest in it.
Wow.
Yes.
That's
and and the criminal thing, the worst part of this whole story is that none of the 4 treatment programs I went to even mentioned naltrexone.
Really?
They didn't even mention it. And the reason, my belief, I'm not going to say this definitively, my belief is that they want you to relapse. They want you to come back. They want you to pay another $60,000.
Wow.
What that's called is the revolving door syndrome. People they're drunks for their whole lives. They go to treatment. They get sober. They stay sober for a period of time. They relapse. Then they go back to treatment. Then they do the same cycle over and over and over and over again.
And you did that, what, 3 times?
5 times.
5 times.
5 times.
Oh my God.
And I don't know anybody who's gone to treatment once and it's stuck.
Yeah, really?
Yes. And so the last treatment program I went to that I had insurance for, they billed my insurance company $149,000.
Whoa.
Yes. So you can see their motivation in wanting to come back.
Right,
So so what I did was the one I went to twice, the ones who I hold to be most culpable, I sued them for negligence. They had a duty to inform me about this FDA-approved drug so I can make my own choices. You don't make the choices for me. I make my own choices. They failed to do that. I thought that was negligent. So we settled that case.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the last program I was at, they had an aftercare that I went to every Saturday.
A what?
And an aftercare program.
Oh, yeah.
And so I told them the story about how I sued the first treatment program. And then I get a call from all three of the directors of this program demanding that I stop talking about naltrexone.
Really?
They were censoring me because they didn't want people to hear that you could sue them for getting sober if they relapse. They could have the same cause of action against this program that I had against this other program. So they censored me, and I told them I wasn't going to do it. So they kicked me out. So I sued them too.
Wow.
For false advertising, because they advertise free aftercare for life. If they kick me out for not just cause, that's a breach of contract.
Oh, yeah.
So I settled that one too.
Wow.
So,
okay.
But I'm so happy to be here because I've made it my life's mission to spread the word about this drug.
Yeah.
And I wrote a paper, it's right here. About a year into my sobriety, I wrote this paper. It's about 12 and a half pages long.
I have read it.
It sets forth everything I've talked about here today and a lot more. A lot of testimonials from professionals and also from real people about the drug. And I encourage everyone to read it. And the way you can read it is you can send me an email.
Okay.
My email address is Mark, M-A-R-K, .Greenman, Greenman,
so
at yahoo.com.
At Yahoo.
And I would be more than happy to send you this paper. It's very easy to understand. It's very compelling. And even if it's not for you, give it to somebody you know who drinks too much. Maybe if you don't know a chronic alcoholic, you still know somebody who drinks too much. Everybody does. And this would be good. I wish I had this in my 30s. I could have chosen to take this maybe Monday through Thursday and only drink on the weekends. And I still might be doing that today. Who knows? So it's not just for the chronic alcoholic. I think it's for everybody.
So basically the same medication, if I understand, is available in pills.
Yes.
That you have to take daily that are cheap.
Right.
And or a monthly injection?
Monthly. Right. And the reason why the monthly works, and Vivitrol is made by a company called Alkermes, and so I really thank Alkermes for saving my life, because the pill form of naltrexone, I believe, would be very easy to cheat. Okay, let's say you're on it for a couple weeks, and I was going to say it's Friday, there's a party tonight. I'm just not going to take the naltrexone today. Say you go out drinking that night and you get back on it on Saturday. Well, that might be all well and good, but that's not the answer to long-term sobriety.
So if you stop even for a day, the desire to drink comes back? Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Yeah.
It works for 24 hours.
Wow. So they have the same medication basically, but injectable form.
That's correct.
That lasts a month in your system.
Right. You have to make one choice a month instead of 30 choices a month, which is a lot easier.
Right. It is a lot more expensive, but it is easier. Now, there are other medications. I don't know the name of it. You probably do.
I do.
Of one that makes you quite sick if you drink.
Yeah, that was medicine's answer to this problem in the 1930s.
Wow, no
There's
kidding.
a drug called antabuse.
Oh, yes.
And if the theory goes, if you drink on it, you get violently ill. Well, after one of my relapses, not the last one, but one of them, I was on antabuse, and I drank on it, and it didn't affect me at all.
Oh, really? So, okay, so not as...
So my disease trumps antabuse.
Okay.
And I mentioned that, everyone nowadays calls alcoholism a disease.
Yeah.
So why not treat it like one? Aren't diseases treated with medication?
Yeah.
I don't know I can't think of any diseases that are not treated by medications. Can you?
Not off the top.
Right.
So Yeah, I think a lot of people don't view it as a disease, view it as a choice.
Moral shortcoming.
Yeah, yeah, and there are
Betty Ford. I think she probably had fairly high morals, and she had a horrible problem too.
Yeah, yeah. But it's this is remarkable. Now, I know that this is not accepted by everyone, and some people are adamantly against this form of treatment. Why is that?
It's so unfortunate too. AA has got a horrible success rate. 1 in 15 people walk through their doors who get sober and stay sober.
Stay sober.
And I tried to go to a local AA meeting here in the village. It was actually an Al-Anon meeting, and I brought 12 copies of my paper, and they ran me out of the room. A drug is a drug is a drug. I said, look, just give this to your loved one. Let them make the choice, not you make it for them.
Yeah.
And AA doesn't work. I didn't say that, but it's true.
Now, when you say that it's FDA approved, what about the medical establishment?
Oh, God. The medical establishment, here's what, let's see. Here's a guy named Dr. Richard Sates. Says, there are effective medications like naltrexone for the treatment of alcoholism, and it would be great if the world used them. It's true. I mean, nobody, I bet you in this audience who's watching this show, I would venture to guess that less than 1%, even if that, have ever heard of this drug. Right. And I would bet if everybody watching the show asked their primary doctor, have you ever heard of naltrexone? They'll say, no, what? They don't know it. Right. Nobody knows about this drug. And it says, the major reason for non-use of this medication appears to be lack of knowledge. That's from the Journal of Substance Abuse. It's been widely available in Europe for 20 years. It provides quick relief to most drinkers, and that's from another doctor. So doctors love it. The doctors know about it, and people who take it love it. The guy says, I finally decided to quit drinking. I was prescribed a pill as a trial to see if it helped. Boy, did it help. Worked great. Started with the first pill within an hour of taking. Haven't had a drink since.
Wow. Well, Mark, unfortunately, our 28 minutes has elapsed.
I could have gone for another 28 minutes.
Probably so. Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Finally, something that works, and you've been on drink-free for how long now?
Oh, my God. It'll be 7 years this April.
Wow. So that is
a
wonderful success story.
One more stat for you.
Okay.
40 to 60% of all people who go to rehab relapse within the first year.
Yeah.
And 90% relapse within 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And if you make it past the 5 years, then I think that the statistics say that you're home free.
Yeah.
So I'm 2 years past the 5, almost 2 years past the 5, so I'm extremely confident.
Yeah.
And I don't miss it. I used to think that I could never have fun without alcohol, and I'm having more fun now than I ever did. Pickleball and softball.
And you can remember it.
Yeah, I remember everything. It's great.
Well, that's great, Mark. We'll see you in the park.
Very good, sir. Thank you, Tom.
And my pleasure.
All right.
Thank you for joining us today. We put Mark's email on the screen, so you can request that paper if you care to. Thank you.